It is Monday, February 17th. Happy President's Day. It's everybody up there.
Who's your favorite president of all time?
Oh, I didn't know that was coming. That's a good one. I mean, you got to say somebody in our lifetime, don't you?
No, don't have to.
Yeah, don't have to, I guess. But I don't have one.
Could be Abe Lincoln.
Who's yours? I don't have one.
Millard Fillmore.
Honestly, didn't think that'd be a name we talk about tonight on the podcast.
13th President of the United States.
Surprised you didn't say Taft.
Could have. Didn't he die in his bathtub or something?
They had to use like a crane to get him out of his tub. I don't know if he died in his tub.
He was the fattest president ever. Maybe he should be my hero.
But it's a family day up in Canada. They also get the day off for a lot of places. But you and I didn't get the day off today.
No, we technically did not. No.
But this place does have Mondays off. That's the Damn Landing, the sponsor of the Tan and J Man Show. Whether you want an epic burger, hand-tossed pizza, hand-breaded tenderloin, seafood, craft beer, or a handcrafted cocktail, the Damn Landing is the place to be. The Damn Landing is a bar and grill located on beautiful Lake Manitou that focuses on freshness and quality. The Damn Smoke, we don't have to say coming soon because it is here. It is here and has arrived. Ribs, steak, bunch of different barbecue. And you and I ate there Saturday night, and neither one of us got it. And I'm regretting not getting it.
I was just about to say, regrettably, I did not order the Damn Smoke.
I did see on their Facebook page, if you want ribs, you got to get them early because they're going fast.
They look delicious, scrumptious.
But you can wash it down with one of their 16 beers on tap, including a constant rotation of today's best microbrews and domestic flavors, or a handcrafted cocktail made using fresh ingredients. We both had some beer, and I had one of those handcrafted cocktails, and pretty good.
Pretty good.
So take in the fantastic views of Lake Manitou in their beer garden or outdoor bar area, probably when it gets a little warmer. Whether it be by boat or by wheels, the Damn Landing is the place to be, located at 1305 Ewing Road in Rochester.
Yes, sir. Got some trivia for me tonight.
I do. Go from one thing to the next here. And the Birdie Bogey is sponsored by, like it is every week, the Noble Home LLC. Fresh, locally grown,
nutrient-dense produce from Bryce and Katie Romine of Mentone, Indiana. Like them on Facebook, follow them on Instagram, and check out their website, noblegnomellc.com. Getting veggie season rolling. It's getting to be veggie season here.
It's getting close.
In northern Indiana. Not yet, but
close.
Get your veggies. All
right. I could go with one of two questions because there's kind of two questions inside a question. But
give me both.
Okay. So I want to know all-time Division I NCAA basketball. What coach has the most NCAA tournament appearances without making a Final Four? Then, on top of that, I want to know who has the most NCAA tournament appearances without making a Final Four of active coaches.
That is a great question.
Thank you.
Most wins? Is that what you said? Or appearances in the NCAA tournament? Okay.
Appearances.
I am going to get a double or triple bogey tonight. I can tell you that already. You ready to learn?
I'm always ready to learn, Josh.
Well, I got some learning stuff for you here. Back in 1818, Baron Carl.
Just a few years ago.
I got to try to pronounce his name, so give me a few seconds. Baron Carl von Drais de Sauerbrunn. Sauerbrunn. Patents the Draisine,
what?
maybe. The bicycle.
Okay.
First ever bicycle.
Wow.
1818.
When was the last time you rode a bike?
2011.
Honestly, I think I was maybe a freshman in high school. 2006 or 7, I think.
I bet if you hopped on a bike right now, it'd be just like riding a bike.
I bet you're right, Josh.
1931, first telecast of a sporting event ever happened in Japan.
1931, was it sumo wrestling?
What sport? I was just about to ask you.
Sumo wrestling?
Baseball. Oh. You stink.
Well.
1943, New York Yankee Joe DiMaggio.
Wasn't too bad.
Enlists into the U.S. Army.
Nice Seinfeld inside reference there. He enlisted into the Army, you say? Is that what he did?
See. 1943. It was about middle of World War II. I don't know if he did. I'm assuming he served.
Yeah. I think
Ted Williams served 4 years. 1962, Wilt Chamberlain of NBA's Philadelphia. What was their nickname at the time?
Oh, It's slipping me.
Warriors score 67 points versus the St. Louis
Kings?
Hawks. So close. Yeah. It's so far.
Weren't they the Kings at one time, St. Louis Kings?
Couldn't tell you. 1968, the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame in Springfield, Massachusetts opened.
Never been there.
Me either. You ever been to Massachusetts?
I don't think so.
It's beautiful countryside. 1974, 16th Daytona 500. What driver became the first driver to win back-to-back titles at Daytona?
Junior Johnson?
Richard Petty. His 5th Great American Race.
He was the legend. He's the
Pretty
GOAT.
Good, I guess.
He's the GOAT.
The 22nd Daytona 500 happened in 1980. Can you name who won that one?
I'm going to go with Keen again. Richard Petty.
Buddy Baker. You ever heard of him?
Yeah, I have.
Oh, you have? I have not. I'm not a big racing guy.
I used to be a really big NASCAR guy. Now I'm not. I'll watch it, but I'm not huge like I used to be. I don't even have a favorite driver anymore.
1985, 27th Daytona 500. After taking pole at then record speed 205.114 miles per hour, can you name the guy who won it? He dominated the race, leading 136 of 200 laps.
85?
1985.
I don't even know who was racing in the 80s.
Good old Bill Elliott.
Oh, yeah, Bill.
Man, you do know your stuff after I tell you the answer, but
well.
It's impressive. 1989, Oral Hershiser, Dodgers pitcher, signs record $7.9 million deal over a 3-year contract.
Got his autograph.
That is, that's less than $3 million a year. It
was big back then, though.
That's huge. It was a record.
Yeah.
So, 1989, that was only 31 years ago. So.
Good math.
I get. 1991, 33rd Daytona 500. Tell me who won it. No. Yes. This guy coasted to win after Challenger's crash on final laps. 1991, year before we were born.
Dale Jarrett?
Ernie Irvin.
I've heard of him, but yeah.
Sure you have.
I have.
Let's see here. A lot of hockey, a lot of Daytona 500. Who won the Daytona 500 in 2002?
2002.
It was the 44th back then.
Dale died in 01. Michael Waltrip.
Ward Burton.
No, Michael Waltrip won the 01 one. I'm an idiot. Ward Burton.
He became the first Dodge to win.
I didn't know Ward Burton ever won a big race like that. Jeff Burton was better than him.
Win first for Dodge since Richard Petty's victory in 1974.
Wow.
So 28 years later. 2008, 57th NBA All-Star Game. You thought I was coming at you with another Daytona question. Who won the MVP? The East won.
2008?
Yes, sir.
2008. East won. Who was good in 2008? I'm going to go with Kevin Garnett.
LeBron James.
First name that pops in my head, but I'm thinking, he didn't do it.
Also in 2008, who won the Daytona 500?
Oh, man. 08.
I'll be disappointed if you don't get this one.
08. Ryan Newman?
Yes, sir. Was that guy from South Bend?
Yeah, and
That's why That's why I said I'd be disappointed. He went into the final. He wins shootout, whatever that means. What does that mean?
It was close. It was close finish.
That's just what it means. Going into the final turn from Tony Stewart and the Busch brothers, Kurt and Kyle. Mm-hmm. I didn't know if they had like a 1 lap race off or something. I don't know.
They didn't get out of their cars and run like Ricky Bobby and Talladega Nights.
That would have been classic, though. Yeah. That would have made it far more interesting, in my opinion. 2013, the 62nd NBA All-Star Game. The West beat the East. Who was the MVP in 2013?
Chris Paul.
Oh, dang.
That was just like...
yes, Christopher Paul. Who did he win MVP last night too? Because he was really good last night.
It was Kawhi Leonard.
It was Kawhi Leonard. Well, Chris Paul. I don't know if you saw the highlight.
I didn't see anything.
He had a big old alley-oop dunk. He's the one that dunked it. He didn't throw the pass. Yeah, that's what. That was shocking.
Surprised he can still dunk at his age.
He's 35. Let's see here. A lot of ski jumping.
Don't give me any of those.
Who won the 2019 NBA All-Star Game MVP?
Last year? Mm-hmm. I don't even... Harden?
Kevin Durant.
Oh. Oh, I remember, yeah.
Who won last year's Daytona?
Denny Hamlin.
Yes, Joe Gibbs Racing goes 1-2-3 in that.
Denny was winning Daytona last I looked today. It's ongoing right now.
He held off reigning Cup Series champion. Who did he hold off last year?
I don't know who won the Cup. Kyle Busch? Nope.
The guy it would have been reigning Cup Series champ, so 2018.
I don't know.
Joey Logano.
Oh, Logano,
and teammate Kyle Busch to win his second. So they call the Daytona the Great American Race.
Yeah.
Learn that tonight.
Yeah, they race it they race there twice a year though. The other one's the Pepsi 4, or it used to be called the Pepsi 400. I still think it is around July. That's the one the kid from Winnemac won last year.
Yeah, Winnemac's not too far from here.
No,
couple miles.
That's pretty cool.
He's a young fella, isn't he?
Yep. So, yeah, I'll have to keep track during the show who ends up winning the 500. So.
How many? There's 200 laps, and I think when we came down there was about 100.
They had 40 laps to go before we started.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So they're getting close to the finish. There'll be some bigger wrecks coming home.
So they had a rain delay or rain out.
Yesterday. And I'm glad you brought that up because this is something I wanted to talk about before we get real hot and heavy into some other topics. So imagine that you planned your vacation around the Daytona 500 and you're down there and you got plane tickets to come back Monday, and then this happens. Mm-hmm. That would suck.
That wouldn't be fun. It seems like I don't know what they would do, but it seems like Daytona should give them like the people who actually have to.
Because the attendance took a big hit today.
Oh, I'm sure.
And I thought it was interesting. They restarted at 4:00 today. It was for TV purposes instead of like normally they'd start the race again at 1 or something.
Yeah,
but
it's not Daytona's fault it happened.
No, it's the weather. I mean, and Indy is so lucky that they haven't had that happen in years.
Yeah,
and usually when they do, they get enough in to call it an official race. If you get 100 laps in, if they would have got 100 laps in yesterday, it's an official race.
How many did they get in yesterday?
About 20.
That was it.
And it was beautiful when it started, but these spotted showers kept coming. And then
that's Florida for you.
Even at one time, there was a scattered shower that got turn 2 and turn 3, but not turn 1 and 4. But you got to stop the race. You can't have cars going 180 to 200 miles per hour on a slick surface. I mean,
no.
So it's crazy. But, I mean, just think about that. Like, we were talking... You mentioned that the NFL is possibly looking into flexing Monday Night Football games. Mm-hmm. What if you and your dad plan to go to Miami for a Sunday game and then all of a sudden it gets flexed to Monday?
The good thing is I'm a Dolphins fan, so that would never happen. But hypothetically, I wouldn't be overly happy about it. I mean, it seems like they'd have to do that 3 or 4 weeks in advance. And even then, it'd kind of screw up your travel.
I mean, this is NASCAR's Super Bowl, and it's too bad for even people who had to work today and wanted to watch it, yesterday, and had to work today and they couldn't watch it. I'm always afraid it's going to happen to the Masters or something, but last year they played it early, so that wouldn't happen. I mean, what if one year Super Bowl's played outside and it storms the whole time? They can't get the game in. Do they postpone it a week and have it the next Sunday, or do they do it the following? I bet they do it the next weekend.
You think so? Man, that'd be interesting. That's why they choose dome stadiums. But
not this year. It was in Miami.
It was in Miami, but there's usually, that's a good question because San Francisco or something or California wouldn't have to worry about it.
The chances of that happens probably very slim.
Very slim because you look at the stadiums that get it, sure, like Tampa, Miami. Maybe even Jacksonville. They did do a Super Bowl in Jacksonville. It was like 40-something degrees. But anyway.
New York,
you don't have to worry about thunderstorms in February. But, Houston, dome.
Yep.
Dallas, dome.
Atlanta, dome.
New Orleans, dome. Indianapolis, dome. Minnesota, dome.
Detroit, dome.
I don't remember.
Arizona, dome.
Yeah. So, you really haven't had to worry about it. But it poured the whole game, that Colts-Bears Super Bowl in Miami. It poured, but
there was no storm.
There was no storm.
Big rainstorm.
And you don't really have to worry about long-lasting thunderstorms in Miami.
Yeah.
They usually blow in and blow out within 15, 20 minutes. Sure, you might have to delay it a little while, but I don't think you'd ever have to worry about them postponing.
That just got me thinking today, like, man, that'd be interesting. Like
they did have to postpone a baseball a World Series between the Rays and Phillies, just one game, and had to play it in the afternoon, I believe. Do you remember that? It was just pouring in Philadelphia. I don't recall
that World Series very well in 08.
And I'm pretty sure they had to move it to the next day. I'm sure they didn't do it during the game. I don't remember the specifics of it, but they did have to play it the next game. I don't know if they did it before the other game that was supposed to play that night, but it's kind of a logistical nightmare for everyone involved.
Yeah, it's just an interesting thing to talk about. I mean, that would really stink if you planned your whole vacation, you saved money for it and everything, and then you weren't able to see the conclusion of it or something. So I'm sure it looked like the majority of people were still there today. So maybe I guarantee in the future they're going to think about those things when they plan out and take Monday off as well. So, or a lot of them probably took Monday off anyways.
A lot of them probably had Monday off because it was President's Day.
Oh, that's a good point too.
But still, I mean, you have to worry about flights and stuff because to change your flight up is awfully expensive too.
Yep. So good opener. But let's dive into a topic that concerns the Big Ten. We talk about the Big Ten a lot on the Tan and J-Man Show. It's one of our points of emphasis.
We don't usually talk Big Ten football in the middle of February,
Not too often.
Here we are.
But when a big story like this happens, we do. And we were requested by one of our fellow listeners,
Tan and J-Man Show Nation.
Yeah, part of the Tan and J-Man Show Nation. Not fellow is not the word I was looking for, but loyal. There we go.
There you go.
Loyal listener Sheldon Coleman wanted my thoughts on this on Friday and said listen to the show tonight or whenever he listens, and he'll find out our takes and responses. But there's a big shakeup in the coaching tree just before the week of signing day. Mark D'Antonio, all-time winningest coach in Michigan State football history, decided he was going to retire, step down, resign, whatever you want to call it, and kind of left him in a pickle late in the coaching carousel to go get a coach. Well, since then it's come out why D'Antonio quit, which they thought the NCAA was going to come down on them, and maybe they will, with 200 infractions. There's been a bunch of culture situations on and off the field for that program.
For a decade.
For the whole university, really. It's not the best culture environment, really, for multiple reasons. But he told the university he wanted to coach in 2020, then retire, and wanted to handpick his replacement. But then he caught wind that they were already hiring a coaching search and were going to go out and get their own replacement for him. He got mad and quit.
The thing that upsets me quite a bit is, for one, he did it like 2 days before signing day. So these guys, I mean, a lot of his class was probably done with the early signing period, I imagine. But still, now those players don't know. I mean, they know who their head coach is going to be, but the players that committed to Antonio, maybe Mel Tucker doesn't want them. Of course, Tucker can't push them out of their national letter of intent, but it kind of screws those guys over. And he did it just 2 weeks after securing a $4.3 million retention bonus.
There's the kicker.
He should have to pay that back in full.
He literally had recruits on campus that weekend.
Yeah. He's an idiot.
But Michigan State went out. They swung and missed at their number one candidate, Luke Fickell, head coach at Cincinnati. He turned them down. It looked like they were going to give him a $5 to $6 million 5-year contract. The board of directors already approved it. After speaking with his wife, they turned it down. His wife did not like the culture for women at Michigan State around the campus.
It's hard to blame her.
I think that's pretty telling and a bad PR look for Michigan State. So Fickell turns it down to stay at a non-Power 5 school, but one that he's building a really good program at in Cincinnati.
It's, for him, he can pretty much hand-pick his job.
Yeah.
And Michigan State's not that great of a football job anymore.
Even though they were just in the playoff 4 or 5 years ago.
Still, I mean, that program's fallen so far. I mean, they had a 3-9 season. They did win, I think, double-digit games 3 years ago. But since then, it's been a whole bunch of not very good stuff there.
Yeah. So he chose to stay in Cincinnati, and at first it was reported that Colorado, the Buffaloes coach, Mel Tucker, turned down the job and he even tweeted he was staying at Colorado, appreciated the offer, blah, blah, blah.
That's usually the kiss of death.
Yeah. Well, so everybody thought that Michigan State kind of moved on. Where were they going to go? Because Pat Narduzzi said he wasn't interested in Pittsburgh. Now, Brett Bielema, former Wisconsin and Arkansas coach who's assistant for the Giants, he came out saying he really wanted the job. And I even told you and our other friends that was who I thought they were going to get. Maybe even Butch Jones as a fallback option, which would have been hilarious. But then Mel Tucker has a change of mind after the university offers him in total $5.5 million per season as part of a 6-year contract. After a 5-7 season at Colorado, he changed his mind and took the job.
His pay doubled.
100% salary raise.
He was making I think it was 2.7.
He was one season into a 5-year, $14.75 million contract.
And sure, first season they go 5-7, whatever. That's not his players at all. He was recruiting the heck out of
35th
everywhere.
Recruiting class, and he got a few guys that flipped from Alabama,
which is probably something Colorado hasn't done in years. Had a top 40 recruiting class. Yeah. But he was at Georgia.
Yes,
correct?
Defensive coordinator, and he was also been the defensive coordinator in the NFL. He played at Wisconsin.
Was he defensive coordinator of the Bears?
I don't know off the top of my head. But his first collegiate job was on the staff of Michigan State under Nick Saban.
He wanted to come home.
So he had Big Ten ties. So I don't blame the guy for absolute. I think everybody in America, as long as it was a good fit for them, would take any job that is doubling their salary.
I don't blame him
for doing that. So I don't blame him for helping himself out and his family out.
However.
And he's going to a better job in a better conference.
However, he came out in, I think, November or something and said, there's no transfer portal in the real world. Just ripping all of the players in the nation transferring.
Yep.
He's a hypocrite. That's what it is. I mean, I understand getting a major pay raise from that, but you can't say that about players transferring if you're just going to up and leave a job anyway.
Well, and my other thing was, I just don't think he handled this whole thing right. I mean, of course, you're not going to come out to the public on the radio or whatever and say, oh, I've been talking to Michigan State. You know, you're not going to show your cards.
Sure.
But I don't think you do a media tour. And on each of these stops on these 3 radio stations, you express your passion, your loyalty to the university, your excitement in the future. That night when he took the Michigan State job, he was speaking to more than 24 Colorado boosters and fans at a fundraising event at the Denver Country Club. During that speech, he was taking questions, and he spoke about his passion for Colorado, described his reason for accepting the job 14 months before, and expressed excitement for the future built around the high school players he had just signed a week ago.
Hypocrite.
Hour later, he signs to become the new coach at Michigan State.
He was the defensive coordinator for the Browns in 2008, Jaguars 2009 through 2011, and the Bears 13 and 14.
I mean, and once again, I understand it. 100% salary raise, double in his salaries. Like I said, going to a better program, in my opinion, better conference, in my opinion. But I think loyalty goes to a certain extent, and I understand this is more of a business instead of it, but I just don't think he went about it the right way. That's all I'm saying. The university would not let him say bye to his players. I thought that was kind of cold by the university, but
yeah,
he wanted to do it that morning when he was flying East Lansing. They said no.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know. But the crazy thing is he went from like the 7th highest paid coach in the Pac-12 to the 12th highest paid coach in the country. The country.
How many of those 12 are coaches in the Big Ten?
Well, Jeff Brom's one spot ahead of him.
I'm sure Harbaugh is above both of them. James Franklin's probably above both of them.
I think Franklin. That was the one I'm not sure, but Day's not yet.
I can't imagine Day
not
is.
Yet, but that's it, I believe.
We sure old Ferentz isn't? That dude's just racked in the money.
I think so. I'm going to look it up now.
He honestly probably should be the highest paid coach in the Big Ten.
I'm going to look it up now, but...
You get paid if you coach Big Ten football. I don't know what Rutgers is paying Shiano or Maryland's paying Loxley, but I know old Lovey Smith's making a lot of money.
Well, this was last year.
Stealing a lot
This
of
was
money.
last year before Mel Tucker joined. This was in October. Ferentz is 6th.
That's preposterous. I'll
Scott
throw that
Frost
word
is
out
5th.
there. That is also...
Fitzgerald 4th.
That makes sense. 5.14 mil. That's
Franklin
a lot.
3rd.
So he'd be up there then.
This was last year. Just last year, though, not last year's salary for 2019. I don't. So, because like Braun made $6.6 million last year, and Harbaugh was 7.5.
That's insane. To coach football.
Yeah.
And do a forgettable job at that.
Good gig if he can get it.
Oh, man.
But, yeah, that's kind of my main thoughts on it. I mean, I can't think that Harbaugh, Day, and Franklin are scared of this guy.
Yeah, I wouldn't be.
Even Tom Allen's probably not scared of him.
Were they scared of D'Antonio, though?
I wouldn't have Michigan's number for a while.
Sure.
He even gave Ohio State some trouble. I mean, they did win the East a couple times.
I will say, if you're a head coach...
But he was on his way out.
Coaching in the Big Ten and you're scared of another coach, you probably shouldn't be coaching in the Big Ten.
I agree, but you can't tell me Harbaugh wasn't intimidated by Meyer.
That dude doesn't care about anything. He wears khakis every day. He drinks milk with steak, which is just weird. That's like a Charlie Day thing.
I've never
off of It's
felt.
Always
I mean,
Sunny.
I wouldn't do that.
I feel very strongly about drinking milk with
You don't like
steak.
milk in general, so you can't comment on this.
Cow pus is what it is.
I wouldn't do that necessarily, but I can't. I probably have growing up at some point. I bet I did.
That is disgusting.
I used to have to drink milk during dinner about every night.
Jim. At a fancy steak restaurant. You're gonna
Okay, that's a little. I thought we were talking
give
about.
me a gallon of milk.
We were talking about it
please.
around the family dinner table, not at.
He was photographed out at a nice restaurant.
This is the first I'm hearing of this. I did not know
Right,
this.
yeah. Give me the porterhouse and a glass of milk.
I did not hear about this. Yeah, you should have got water, or tea, or beer, or something.
Wine.
Yeah. Fancy Josh over here with his pinky up in the air.
That's
Can't
right.
drink light beer even. But,
Disgusting.
But yeah, those are my thoughts really about the whole Mel Tucker and Mark D'Antonio situation. Big Ten gets a new coach, and they can't seem to get. They have $6 million to spend for assistants. Can't seem to pull any ones they want.
No, they wanted a Kentucky assistant who's really good friends with Mark Stoops, so that's why he ultimately stayed. But they were giving him a huge pay raise. I would have given him a huge pay raise had he gone, but he just didn't want to go.
They offered their defense coordinator position to Marcus Freeman, who's Cincinnati's defensive coordinator, and he turned him down.
Turned him
Stay
down?
at Cincinnati. I'm telling you, they're building something there.
Well, my thought on that is he knows Fickle's probably not going to be there for the long haul, so he's going to step in whenever Fickle leaves and take the head coaching job.
He also turned down the Tennessee Titans for a linebacker coaching position.
I honestly think being defensive coordinator at a college football program is a better gig than being a linebacker coach in the NFL.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Don't have to recruit in the NFL though, which is huge. So.
And you can advance pretty quickly.
Sure, I mean, yeah, if you have a good...
They both got their pros and cons.
I mean, you could just be bumped up to defensive coordinator position pretty quick in the NFL if you do that. But
Yep.
I think he's holding out for a head coaching job. I don't know.
You're probably right.
I don't know Marcus Freeman personally, but...
I was around him for a spring. Pretty cool dude.
Is he?
Yeah. He was the best part of that Hazel staff, that horrible staff. He was by far the best.
Is there really anyone else doing anything from that staff, or is it just...
There's a lot of guys all over the place that have jobs. Actually, Jared Parker is...
He was the interim, right, after...
he's back in the Big Ten at Penn State now.
What's he doing there?
I think he's their new wide receiver coach. If not offensive coordinator. I'm going to go look that up. I'm going to fact check myself, but we can move on to another topic. We can stick with Big Ten, talk some hoops.
Sure. Why don't you talk some hoops?
Well, I'm going to look this up so while you get us started.
It was a interesting week in the Big Ten.
Isn't it every week?
Every week. You just don't know what's going to happen. Game to game, really. I'm having to go and look up what actually happened to the Big Ten.
I'm an
last
idiot.
week.
It's not Penn State. He is the new offensive coordinator and wide receivers coach at West Virginia. I don't know why.
It's a big time
I think he
job,
was last year wide receiver coach at Penn State. So
Tuesday night last week started off with a just whooping. Penn State went into West Lafayette and
I was gonna say, who played Tuesday night?
got a win by 12. Put up 88 points against the top 10 defense in the country.
Shot 53% from behind the arc without their second leading scorer.
14 of 26 from behind the arc. When Purdue doesn't knock in triples, it doesn't go very well for them. They went 4 of 17. They did end up scoring 76 points, which is pretty good. But
a lot of it was a late rally, but I don't think offense was their problem. It was more on the defensive end.
Well, I didn't watch much of the game. Was the defense that bad, or was Penn State just knocking in triples?
They were knocking in contested triples for the
real
most
tough
part.
shots.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when they missed, Watkins would clean it up. He had a big game.
Yeah, Watkins ended up with 19 and 10 on 9 of 12 shooting.
I mean, because they got Lamar Stevens was in foul trouble most of the first half.
He ended up with 16 points on 9 shots. A lot of that came at the free throw line real late.
Yep.
But I think this guy's a freshman, Seth Lundy.
He's top 150 player, but
he's only averaging 13 minutes a game, but he went in and knocked down
he was taking Jones's minutes.
6 of 9 from 3.
Yep. That was a frustrating one. Another loss on Mackey. It's frustrating.
I was going to say it last week, but I kind of talked myself out of it when we were talking who was going to win the Big Ten. I wanted to say Penn State, but just because they're Penn State, I had a hard time.
It's going to be them or Maryland.
It's a 2-horse race, especially after Michigan State choked on Saturday.
Penn State has the tiebreaker, I heard last night in the Big Ten, if they were to tie.
Penn State did beat them back in December.
That's why they have the tiebreaker.
I think they play there again.
Do they play again?
I'm going to...
You know, Penn State's highest finish in the Big Ten
do not,
is third all time. They've never finished first or second.
This is they've won 8 in a row.
Yeah. Maryland's won 8 in a row.
This is the first time they've ever won 10 games in Big Ten play since they've been in the Big Ten. Yeah. This is their highest rank. Last week was the highest they've ever got in the ranking, and now they're the first time they've been in the top 10, and I don't even know how long.
Yeah.
Team's real good.
Oh, they are. Earlier this year, I thought Illinois passed the eyeball test from me as the best team in the Big Ten. Just watched them, and I thought Penn State even looked better the other night. So.
Speaking of the Illini, there were 2 really good games after that Purdue game. First, I'll talk about the Nebraska-Maryland one first.
I didn't watch a second of it.
I didn't really watch much of it, but Nebraska was down 1 with the ball, had a chance to win it at the buzzer, and old Jalen Smith Sticks came in and blocked a shot. Maryland survived a 7-18 Nebraska
Every team
at home.
that wins a Big Ten championship has one of those where you survive against a team that's not as good.
You have to
not near as good.
You have to survive it too.
Yep.
Then the second game, Michigan State Illinois, was also one of the better games in Big Ten play so far. It looked like it was going to be an absolute butt whoop, and it turned into a classic. Illinois got down 20-something. I don't know how you come out flat in a huge home game against Michigan State. Crowd was rocking. Illinois didn't play hard, and Underwood even leaned to his assistants and said, why can't we not get these guys to play hard? He said before the game when he was talking to them, it felt like they were on their way to a funeral. Before the game.
I think that stuff's happening all over college basketball more than ever.
But anyway, Illinois made a furious comeback and even took the lead late, and then Alan Griffin refused. I don't know. He didn't refuse. He just didn't box out.
He missed the box out.
And he actually went for the block, which he had Kofi Coburn right next to him, who was also going for the block, and that left.
When 2 guys leave their feet,
it's not going to go well. Honestly, it might have been a pass from Winston, knowing Tillman was maybe going to be in that spot.
I think it was just a high miss.
It was a terrible miss, but it worked out pretty well for him. And then Illinois came down with 6 seconds left, and Ayo Dosunmu slipped. And at that moment, I saw the tourney life flash before. I think every Illinois fan did. Eyes. He slipped, held his knee. The replay looked gruesome.
It did.
When it first happened, I thought
that looked worse than a lot of tears I see.
Absolutely. I don't know.
That's what just blows my mind.
For one, how does a manager or whatever not clean that spot up? Because that's what
happened. Yeah,
that is where the bench sits during timeouts, and there was just a timeout, and it was obviously slip.
That's why a lot of them just wipe excessively more than they probably should, just to make sure you get everything.
It would have been interesting if he could have got a shot up, because he's pretty money from that spot. But anyway, he didn't because he slipped. But then it came out Thursday, no structural damage at all. He's day-to-day, could even play Saturday, which would have just been an unbelievable turnaround. But he didn't, and they just got waxed
needed him
by a Rutgers team. It would have been interesting if he would have played. I still don't think they would have won.
You know what's interesting about Rutgers? I think it's the ESPN win prediction. Has them losing losing out their next 5.
And they're undefeated at home. Yep. That place gets stupid loud.
Because there's high school gyms in Indiana bigger than that place.
They say it's real old. The toilets barely work. I read a whole story about it, but it's got some charm to it.
Talk about surviving home games. They've found ways to survive games there.
Yeah, Illinois hung in it for, the whole game, and then 3 minutes left or so, Rutgers went on a long run. But somebody's going to need to step up for the Illini, and that's got to be Trent Frazier. He shot 2 of 13. Can't have that happen from your lead guard. Alan Griffin played pretty well. Kofi played well for the first 12 minutes, didn't do anything after that.
And then, really, around the conference, it was a crazy week that saw Indiana beat Iowa at home.
Yeah.
Led by Devontae Green hitting 7 threes. Indiana hitting their season-high threes. I think it was 11 or 12. And then Iowa turns around and gets a huge come-from-behind win yesterday at Minnesota, which they found themselves down 8 points with 5 minutes to go and score the rest of the points all the way in and win the game.
Daniel Oturu had a chance to...
He had to make them both to tie.
He had to make them both to tie.
He missed the front end of 1-1.
Yep. And missed the front end of the... Now, the ball doesn't lie because Luka Garza did not foul Daniel Oturu. That was a huge opportunity for Minnesota to get a marquee win because they're still somehow hanging on to that bubble. I know
they're the first 4 out right now.
They were in the first 4 out, and if you win that game, you probably get bumped up a few spots.
Actually, today I saw one. I don't know whose it was. They were the next 4 out. Indiana was first 4 out, and then Purdue was one of the last 4 buys.
Last 4 buys.
Before the last 4 in.
The computers still like this Purdue team.
I don't know why, but all it's got to do is computers got to watch it on the road. But, hey, they get one tomorrow night, then they might be sitting pretty good. But that will not be easy up at the Kohl Center. Wisconsin team that's playing pretty good.
As I said, your tune would be a lot different a few days after.
It goes up and down. If you've watched this show or listened to this show this year, it's a roller coaster season for me. It's week to week, depending how I'm going to feel.
I'm right there with you. But anyway, also on Saturday, Maryland ended the game.
Yes.
I think it was a 14-0 run. They got down 60 to 53 with about 3 minutes left. Anthony Cowan hit 3 threes.
There's nobody else
he's a killer, man.
in the Big Ten that I want the ball in their hands late in the game than him.
It's hard to argue with that. He's hit tough shot, big shot after big shot after big shot. And they went into Michigan State and got a 7-point win.
Michigan State's lost 2 of the last 3 home games.
They've lost 5 out of 6 overall.
Yeah, Illinois could have.
Should have been 6 or
6 in a row.
4 out of 5 overall.
It's got to be a frustrating year for Cassius Winston. Returned for a senior year and
came into the year ranked number 1.
Just hasn't gone the way he thought.
His supporting cast isn't that great. Xavier Tillman has his moments.
Henry's been terrible.
Henry hasn't been that great.
Their freshmen haven't been good.
That Rocket Watts went through a real good stretch.
Malik Hall hasn't been nothing.
He hasn't been very good.
Yeah.
Rocket Watts, after scoring 20 against Illinois, came back and scored 5.
Yep.
Xavier Tillman had a really good game. He had 18 and 11, but after that, Aaron Henry had 9 points on 11 shots. Malik Hall didn't score. Marcus Bingham Jr., who was a top 50 recruit, he had 2 points, 4 rebounds.
They're always going to get the athletes and the players.
That Gabe Brown, I thought he was going to have a pretty good year, but he hasn't scored in double figures since January 23rd against Indiana. And in fact, he scored no points in 3 of his last 5 games.
Yep.
So they need someone to step up.
It was a good week for Michigan going 2-0.
Yeah, they are playing some good basketball.
Yeah, they're back in the tournament.
They beat Northwestern by 25,
yep.
And then came home
Pounded Indiana yesterday.
Put up 89 points and beat Indiana by 24.
Livers makes them a whole completely different team.
Yeah.
Except the guy, even during games, gets hurt. Every game. Yesterday he got hurt, but he came back in. It's just like every game he gets hurt.
Deron Davis put up quite an effort for the Hoosiers yesterday. Shot 9 of 9, 18 points.
I didn't know that.
Al Durham had 17, but then
Jackson Davis didn't have a good game though.
He only shot the ball 3 times. And he only had 2 fouls. Why did they not give him? Is Archie that clueless? I mean, he's your best player.
I don't know, man. And then Green, I think Brunk got more shots than Green, and Green's coming off a huge game on Thursday
night.
Joey
Brunk shot 10 times.
Yeah, and Green shot 7.
Had 6 points. Rob Fennessy has not had a good sophomore year.
All you got to do is go find a clip. It's on Twitter of Jalen Smith taking a ridiculous turnaround jumper when he's double teamed. He makes it, but they're down by 20, and Archie still just puts his head down. That tells you the culture of the team right there.
Yeah, this is Archie's team. This is the one he wanted, and it's not going well for him. Franz Wagner's playing some good basketball for Michigan. He won Big Ten Freshman of the Week for, I think, 2nd straight week, or 2 out of 3.
Time for your guy to get back in there.
Yeah. But anyway, anything else happen around the...
Purdue did their normal road game away from either Indiana or the last 4 minutes in the Northwestern or Ohio, where they just went to Ohio State and just got out physical. Ohio State does two things well. They play good defense, and they shoot the three ball well. They lead the conference in three-point percentage, and they shot it pretty well, but Purdue had their chances. They went through stretches of not making shots, and Purdue just couldn't do anything. I mean, there was times, I think I used the word infuriating more during that game out loud to my dog than I ever have in my life. And there was times they just looked like a kindergarten team out there.
Yeah. Ohio State's playing good basketball, though.
On that transition where No Gel Eastern literally couldn't pick up the ball and they fumbled a 3-on-1 opportunity for a layup, I started off in my living room and ended up in my guest bedroom somehow because I yelled and was throwing my arms around so much.
Gotta stop throwing stuff, man.
I didn't throw anything. I threw my arm around. Could tear a rotator cuff or something.
Ohio State, after having a real bad stretch, is now hot. They're now ranked.
They've won 5 of the last 6. They're ranked again?
Yes, 25th.
Did not know that.
So
I am checking the Daytona 500 real quick. Why we get into preview games.
Pretty good.
Still in progress. There is 18 laps left. Brad Keselowski's position 1, Ryan Newman 2, Christopher Bell 3, Chase Elliott 4, and Eric Almirola 5.
I've heard of 3 of those guys.
I've not heard of Christopher Bell. I've heard the other ones.
You want to pick some games?
Yeah.
First game tomorrow night, early one, 6:30. Penn State, back-to-back 6:30 Tuesday games against the Illini.
Well, I don't know if Io's playing or not.
I assume he's not.
So I'm going with Penn State.
They're not winning with Io. That's been a house of horrors for them.
Go back to Taylor Battle against McCamey.
Yeah, that didn't go well.
When there was 12 people in the stands and they rushed the court. Now it's a packed house.
Penn State is solely responsible for ending Illinois' reign of terror in Big Ten play in the mid-2000s. They went in there a real bad Penn State team against like the 6th-ranked Illinois team in a place Illinois had won like 40 in a row in Champaign, and they won by 2. Rich McBride hit a 3 at the buzzer. They said counted. They went back and looked at it. It was on his fingertips. Illinois hasn't been the same since.
Every time I remember, like in high school, it would just be a close, classic game. They're doing like a whiteout and a Bryce Jordan, and somebody would hit a buzzer beater, and then they start playing We Are Penn State, and they'd rush the court every game.
Taylor Battle would hit a 40-footer. They had Cornley with a tip-in, and Penn Stadium won in Illinois 38-33 one time.
Then it was Frazier later on after
Tim.
Battle.
Yeah. So, yeah. Illinois
they packed the place now, too. To their credit, finally.
It's about time.
Finally, yeah.
Purdue at Wisconsin.
Taking the Badgers.
Yeah, give me Wisconsin.
I just don't like the way Purdue plays on the road, but it's a bet. It's probably a pretty good matchup for Purdue. Purdue stomped them the first time around, but that was Kobe Keene's last game.
That's a tough place to play.
It is. It is one place that Matt's had tons of success in his career, but we'll see. They got to get. I mean, you got this in Iowa. Your last 2. Mm-hmm. You got 5 games left. You got to do something.
The reason they say Wisconsin's such a tough place to play, for one, the ball's a little different.
Under Armour.
2, they're one of just 2 places where they also play hockey.
Yeah.
And they say it's just so much colder than any other gym. And Wisconsin does not have a separate practice facility, so they practice on that court, and so they're used to that temperature. And that just it's tough for teams to go in there and win. However, that's one of Illinois' saving graces right now is going into Wisconsin and into Michigan and in Purdue and winning.
Yeah, hopefully No Gel Eastern shuts Brad Davison down. He's coming off an 8 3-pointer performance at Nebraska.
Northwestern at Maryland. Give me Maryland.
Easily.
I don't think they have a potential letdown like they did against
Nebraska.
No,
they'll be focused.
Michigan at Rutgers. For some reason, I thought that Michigan-Rutgers game
that was a Michigan home game.
Yeah, for some reason, I thought it was a Rutgers home game at Madison Square.
And Michigan won, even though Howard said it felt like a Rutgers home game. I'm taking Rutgers at home.
I agree. I think Rutgers' streak of wins at home continues. Thank you.
Welcome.
Indiana at Minnesota.
And this is a big game for both teams. Like you said, Minnesota blew a huge opportunity yesterday. Indiana, talk about a team that struggles on the road. They've beat Nebraska. That was it. I'm taking Minnesota.
Minnesota's loss could just
derail them
the rest of the season. So give me the Hoosiers.
All right.
The Hoosiers are due for a road
they need
win.
it.
I think they get it. really good game here on Thursday. Ohio State at Iowa.
Taking Iowa home.
Iowa's a far better team at home than they are on the road.
Like you can say that about every team in the Big Ten.
Evidenced by giving up 105 points or 4 points and getting just whooped at Purdue, and then come back and give up 50 points in the first half against Indiana. However, they did play halfway. It was more of a choke job by Minnesota, because it's not like Iowa played great down the stretch as Minnesota.
Garza's doing what he does. He's got a good case to win National Player of the Year.
I don't think he does, but he will be a All-American.
Well, who are the other guys in contention for? There is not like a clear-cut guy on the best team for once.
Yeah. I hope he doesn't.
Miles Powell. You got the kid from Dayton.
Oh, give me Obi Toppin over Garza any day of the week. I don't know one player on San Diego State.
No,
Baylor couldn't name me one
Howard's
player.
Probably the other guy. Those four are probably. He's going to be probably one of those four.
Give me Obi Toppin any day of the week. Michigan State at Nebraska.
Michigan State.
I think Michigan State bounces back. Still no Friday games.
I think they're done with those.
That perturbs me.
I think they are done with those, though.
Saturday, Michigan at Purdue.
I would take Purdue at home. I don't feel very confident in saying that, but I will.
I think Michigan loses both games this week. I am never picking against Purdue at Mackey again.
Shut up. Every time you say it, now they're going to lose, because every time you say that, they lose at home every single time.
Reverse psychiatry.
I might as well pick against them, because when I pick against them, they seem to win. But I'm going to pick them at home. They almost beat them, double overtime loss up there. So
got 4 games on Sunday. Penn State at Indiana. This is a huge game for Indiana. Less so for Penn State. Now it is for Penn State if they want to keep pace.
They want a conference title, but I think Indiana loses at Minnesota, but finds a way to win this game at home, and it just their season's just perplexing. I don't know.
I think Indiana beats Minnesota on the road, but loses at home to Penn State.
All right.
Rutgers at Wisconsin. First 1 to 50 wins.
Give me Wisconsin.
Give me Rutgers. Go on the road. Team's physical, plays hard. Wisconsin doesn't handle physicality overly well, so which is why they'll play pretty well against Purdue. Hey, you said Purdue doesn't handle physicality.
They're soft.
Thank you.
They struggled against Illinois, Rutgers, and Ohio State really visibly.
Minnesota at Northwestern.
Minnesota.
Give me the Wildcats. I got to keep picking. I want them to get a win or two out of the way before Illinois.
I was going to say, I'll pick them against Illinois. Just wait.
Maryland at Ohio State. It's a good one.
Give me the Buckeyes.
I think Maryland is so much better than this Ohio State team, and I think they go in there and win.
I think Maryland's better too, but Ohio State's got such a nice arena, and the game day environment is awful.
It's awful.
It might be the worst in the conference.
It's terrible.
It's just dead
for a team that's been
time.
good for a long time now. I'll let you pick some Butler and Notre Dame.
I know who they play off the top of my head. Notre Dame's hosting. It started already, I think. They're hosting North Carolina tonight. I think that was a 7 o'clock tip.
Give me Notre Dame.
I'll take Carolina. Just be different. And then they host Miami on Sunday.
Give me Notre Dame.
Yes.
Notre Dame needs both of them if they want any shot.
They're not even get talked about.
No, I don't think they're going to be a turning team, but if they want any shot, they can't lose one of these.
And then Butler has a tough week.
They
lost at home to Georgetown over the weekend. They traveled to Seton Hall.
Give me Seton Hall.
I agree. And then they traveled to Creighton.
Give me Creighton.
I agree. Butler was a team that was ranked top 5.
Yeah, they've kind of slowed down a little bit.
They've kind of hit their ceiling a while back, and
I mean, they can still find it again.
Any other good games in the top 25 this week?
No. I want to talk baseball a little bit before we go.
We got 10 minutes.
This might take me 10 minutes.
Oh boy.
So Rob Manfred did his press conference yesterday. They asked him an array of topics, but a lot of people just want to know about the Astros thing and why the punishment was so weak.
Slap on the wrist.
Cody Bellinger, Chris Bryant, Mike Trout have all come out and said the players needed to be suspended and they think it's weak. And I've been on record saying Manfred is the worst. Maybe
we heard it last week.
The worst commissioner in the history of sports. He just needs the owners won't do it because they're somehow still making money.
He needs C-League back.
And C-League is just, I'm sure he's just having the greatest time because he had to deal with the steroid thing, and I think this is far worse than the steroid.
Yeah, he did a steroid,
issue.
did the tie game of the All-Star.
Yeah, the All-Star, it was whatever. People made a lot bigger deal of it, but
they certainly did.
He had to deal. So now he's watching old Manfred have to deal with this, and he just keeps bumbling his words.
This is worse than steroids. Way worse.
Oh, far worse.
Way worse.
And the Astros keep making fools out of themselves. Manfred.
They're being cocky to the media.
I know. They are.
Altuve, I used to like him a lot.
He's an idiot.
I've done a 360.
Carlos Correa, idiot. The only one that I don't think any of them have been sincere, but George Springer at least sounded a little sincere. But even then, it didn't really.
Has Verlander even talked about it?
Hasn't said a word, and he's such a old school. He gets so mad on anything small, and now he's just silent. Whatever. He said we played the game the right. This is what he said when he was traded there. These guys played the game the right way. I'm so excited to be here, and now this.
Well, I feel like they fooled a lot of the general baseball fans around America because I think a lot of people, like my dad, for instance, really enjoyed watching their ball club play.
They were a fun team.
You know, if your team went in, they'd root for them. But now they're going to be not only the most hated team in baseball by far, they might be the
most hated team
in sports, unseating the Patriots.
I agree with that. But anyway, Manfred during his press conference said he didn't strip the Astros title because the idea of asking for a piece of metal back seems like a futile idea.
Well, that's a really dumb statement, but
incredibly dumb.
You can strip them, you can take it away. It's still, the fact is they still won the championship.
That's the problem, but strip it. Make sure it's out of record books completely.
Well, yeah, they did. They've done that in the like with the Fab Five and everything.
Yeah,
but people who were there, they still did it.
Happened.
Reggie Bush still won the Heisman Trophy.
But the fact that he is saying he didn't do it because it's just asking for a piece of metal back is the thing.
His reasoning's stupid.
It's idiotic. If he's devaluing like that, why should we care to even spend money? I mean, you're spending what? At least $60 for one ticket to go to these games. Why should we give a crap? I mean, if the owners won't come out against him because his contract runs through 2023. The CBA, collective bargaining agreement, is up in 2021, and they want him to negotiate it. It's just I can't even put it into words.
So, in your opinion, what is fair punishment?
I mean, we've talked about this for 4 weeks now.
Yeah, it's getting old, but
it is. But they keep making it worse. I've already said I don't even want to say it again. Just I'd say ban them from postseason play for a year or two. Screw the city, because
then the fans won't go to games and they'll lose money.
Exactly, and that's fair. That's absolutely fair. That's so much better.
Was it Manchester United over the weekend or
Man City? I think it was.
Man U, 2 years
exactly.
Out.
I mean, look. I want to. Why should we buy merchandise if MLB's not going to do anything?
What if they win it all this year?
It'd be the worst thing that could happen.
That could potentially.
To Rob Manfred.
I'm not going to say it's going to ruin the sport, but
it will do as much damage as the strike in '94 did.
Yeah.
But I think baseball players need to strike in order to get this idiot out of office.
And he said there will be punishments if people try to hit the Astros players or beam them and stuff. They didn't get punished any other way. Let the clubs handle their own.
Exactly.
Let them handle their own business.
I'm not an advocate for throwing at people, but in this case, I am turning a blind eye.
Yeah.
Honestly, they need to throw at Rob Manfred. I don't want to advocate violence, but I'm at that point where
keep it clean.
If I saw him, I'd have a hard time not just punching him in the nose. To be honest.
You're too nice of a guy. You wouldn't.
I know I am, but it makes me hot, and I don't like it.
You're lucky he's a black belt and would just whoop you or something.
I mean, he's clearly a smart guy, but he's just sounding like an absolute idiot.
Yeah, sometimes it's better just not to say anything.
He had to say something because he hasn't said a word.
In your public power position, you have to say something. But goodness.
It's just ridiculous.
I'm sick of it.
I'm so sick of it, and yet we still have to hear about it because the Astros apologized. Oh, man. I hate that organization. I hate Rob Manfred.
It's funny what's happened in the last few months. People went from not really caring about the Astros
it's crazy
to just hating them.
This is the worst scandal in the history of sports. The worst.
Yeah, I can't.
I'm not even trying to be hyperbolic when I say it. It's just the worst. Anyway, I forgot to do a J-Man's Bucket prediction as
I
just looked down and saw the read
give Travis a read. Take your time on that one, too. You don't have to fly through it.
Oh, let's see here.
It's going to be an interesting one. We've already picked all the Big Ten games.
You know what? Give me Minnesota or Indiana at Minnesota. That's going to be my bucket prediction.
So, Indiana...
beats Minnesota.
Yeah, you did. I thought you were going to get your pick.
And the J-Man's Bucket Prediction of the Week is brought to you by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance Agent Travis Watchering for life, home, auto, renters, business, workers' comp, farm insurance. Contact Travis 219-869-4561 and also at travis.watchering@infb.com.
All right, you ready for his birdie bogey?
No.
I want to know, all time for Division I NCAA college basketball, what head coach has the most NCAA tournament appearances without making a Final Four?
Ever. Has this guy coached in our lifetime?
Yes.
In the 2010s?
No.
In the 2000s?
I'm not giving you any more hints.
How am I supposed to get this one? What school?
No.
I don't even have a guess for you.
Mr. Gene Cady. 18 NCAA tournament appearances without a Final Four.
He wasn't the coach there, was he? In 80 when they went. Was it 80 then? For some reason I was thinking that.
He made two Elite Eights.
I don't want to say Matt Painter for this next one, but I'm going to.
No, but Painter is 7th all time and 2nd among active coaches. But
second active coaches.
He's got 12. There's one that has 14.
14 have never gotten there.
This guy's made Elite Eight.
Made an Elite Eight. Just one Elite Eight, too.
Yep.
Oh, man.
He's been often criticized for his lack of success in the NCAA tournament.
Often criticized. Man, I can't imagine it's Scott Drew.
No.
Can't imagine. Oh, man. What conference?
ACC. And John Chaney and Fran Dunphy are second, by the way, with 17. Norm Stewart had 16, and Lefty Drizzle had 13. Then this guy's 5th all-time and leads active with 14.
He's in the ACC. I mean, Boeheim's been there. Coach K's been there. Roy Williams has been there. Who am I? I mean, Chris Mack hasn't been around that long. Who the heck am I missing in the ACC? It's going to make me so mad, isn't it?
We got to wrap this thing up.
Who the heck's in the ACC? I mean, the NC State guy hasn't been there very long. Wake Forest, Danny Manning hasn't been there very long. Oh, man.
When you do this, I mean, of course you're going to when you get this much time.
Pass.
Mike Bray.
Oh, Lord. I was thinking they're still in the old Big East.
Yeah, 14 times.
That stinks.
Yeah, double bogey.
That's fair.
Yeah. Maybe even a triple bogey for not
double. I missed two
the first one.
Questions.
Didn't even give an answer for the first one.
Didn't give an answer for the second one either.
That's true. But that will do it for episode 170 of the Tan and J-Man Show. Thanks for watching on the ISC Sports Network or listening on any of our platforms. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Hit that follow button. Give us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. 5-star. And we will see you next Monday for another episode of the Tan and J-Man Show. Have a great week, everybody.